In 1859, the Emperor of Russia, Alexander II, offered to sell Alaska to the United States. He did this knowing that it would strengthen the power of the US to contest the power of Great Britain, which at that time was Russia's greatest rival in the Pacific. Alaska was hard to defend, extremely remote, and almost worthless for Russia, so it made sense for them to sell it off rather than risk losing it in battle to the British. But before the offer was agreed upon, a civil war struck the United States and delayed the sale, though after the war ended, the US took up the renewed Russian offer. And on March 30th, 1867, the US agreed to Russia's proposal to buy Alaska for $7.2 million, which is the equivalent of $142 million in today's money. William Seward was the Secretary of State at this time, who was the person in charge for the agreement of this purchase. Many critics started to call the purchase of Alaska as Seward's folly, and made fun of the new territory by calling it Seward's Icebox and President Andrew Johnson's Polar Bear Garden. Though little did they know, Alaska would provide a critical role in the United States economy and important accessibility to the Arctic. Alaska was formally transferred to the US on October 18, 1867. And close to 3 decades later, after the purchase and the critics, Alaska finally proved the first of its worth. A major gold deposit was discovered in the Yukon in 1896. Alaska was eventually recognized as of strategic importance during World War II, and became the US's 49th state on January 3, 1959. Some even started to call the state the most strategic place on Earth, due to its location in the Northern Hemisphere. The Arctic has been an increasing interest for countries like Russia, China, and the US, and we have seen an increase in human activity from these nations as the sea ice resides, which opens economic opportunity via new shipping lanes. The Arctic also consists of a considerable capacity for economic expansion with the natural resources in the area. It is estimated that 30% of the gas worldwide and 13% of the undiscovered oil is in the Arctic, making it a prime place for countries to gain more economic power. Not only is the Arctic important for economic reasons, but it also makes a good route for missiles aimed at North America. Firing missiles from the Arctic requires less distance and lessens the potential for early warnings about the attack, which makes Alaska's location a key element to be a critical component of the United States ballistic missile defense system. Russia has been a country that has relied heavily on the Arctic zone. Around 20% of Russia's GDP is from economic activity in the Arctic, and it aims to further its growth in this area. All of the other Arctic nations, including Russia, have made claims to areas beyond their exclusive economic zones. Many countries have claims that overlap each other, which creates friction between countries as they increasingly confront each other. With these rising tensions, Russia has been establishing military bases aggressively in the Arctic, in order to provide protection to the emerging northern sea route and securing its economic interest. And with Russia's recent aggression to its neighbors such as Ukraine, some question if they will act in a similar manner with Alaska to secure their ownership of the Arctic. Russia's interest in Alaska is due to its position for Arctic shipping routes and proximity to Arctic natural resources. Alaska also strengthens the economy and military defense of Russia's biggest competitor, the United States. The state itself also contains a lot of potential economic activity with its natural resources. And with the sanctions that the West has put on Russia over the war in Ukraine, Putin and the Russian government have made threats to claim back Alaska for their own. But as global warming continues to melt the polar ice caps and the Arctic sea ice resides, we can only hypothesize about the types of conflict and economic activity that this region will bring about. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.